What's up, dudes and chicks? Hey, my name's Jake Patterson. This is my first try at making a video for YouTube. Something I've been wanting to do for a while now. Just to show people what I'm working on here in the shop, different projects I got going on. Random haggard shit. So anyways, I thought I'd make a video trying to keep them short and simple within, maybe 5-10 minute video. So I'm going to just do one on my car that I'm working on back here behind me to start things off with. This is a 87 Buick Regal. I've had this car for, I don't know, three years, something like that, 4 years. I bought this car from an old man, had it. It was actually a running and driving car at the time that I got it. I actually daily drove this car for a while. It had a 307 Oldsmobile V8, and let me tell you, that is a terrible engine. I wouldn't recommend having anything with one of them in it, but hey, you buy what you can buy, right? I'm a Grand National fan, a T-Type fan, and I just didn't want to spend the money on one of those cars that people want for a nice one. You can find cheap ones, but they're usually junk. So anyways, I found this car on Facebook Marketplace. An older gentleman had it, like I said. It was all original. I mean, bone freaking stock. 307 V8 with a 204R transmission, overdrive transmission behind it. This car is actually a limited, so it's got different interior, different trim package, had the stainless steel across the bottoms of the rockers here, which I've took it off, but stainless trim on the windshield and doors, yada, 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 different door panels, such and so forth. If you know anything about Buicks, you know about limiteds and all that. So anyways, when I got this car, my plans was just to drive it with the motor that was in it. Well, I was pretty hard on it. I drive stuff pretty hard anyways. So it started using oil, and it started using antifreeze really bad and overheating. And I started off to Owensboro one day, and it got really bad. So that's when it met its demise. And I brought it back, yanked the engine out of it, and that's what led me to this. Originally, I wanted to build a 3.8 motor, do a T-type clone, and kind of ditched that idea. Kicked around doing an LS, been done. So my next step is like, I like Supras, but I can't afford a Supra either. So let's buy a 2JZ. So I got to looking around on eBay, and lo and behold, I buy me a 2JZ GT variable valve timing engine, straight from Japan land, out of a Toyota Aristo. Anyways, it's just sitting here collecting dust at the moment. But I got this bright idea. Let's put a 2JZ in a Buick. That's something different. So when I first started this whole idea, I was going to make it a street car slash strip car, drag race it, get in it, drive across the country, whatever. So I bought an adapter plate from Bringer's Performance in E-Town. They're pretty local to me, to run any kind of GM transmission behind a 2JZ. And the original plan was to do a 4L80E, so I'd have overdrive, be a nice street strip cruiser. Until I started really looking at what it costs to build a 4L80 the way I wanted, with a brake, full manual valve body that works. I was like, I don't want to spend that kind of money on a 4L80. So then I was like, let's do a 400. And then, yada, 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 fast forward a bunch. I decided, screw making a street car, let's make it a race car. So it's in its current state you see now, with everything pretty much gutted out of it. I was going to keep AC and heat, decided to ditch that, lose weight, so it's got a heater box delete. Yeah. So anyways, what I plan to do with this car, there's a class called, used to be called DXP 235. Since changed that, it's called Limited Street 235. It's a radial tire class. they're limited to a 235 radial, which is a pretty small tire. And the reason why I wanted to do a 235 on this car is because it's going to stay factory frame rail and everything in the rear, factory style suspension points. And a 275, I mean, you can run them on these cars, but they're kind of a tight fit without changing a lot of stuff. And I want this car to be as low as possible, like 6 inches from the ground to the quarter panel low. So I thought, 235, 10-inch wide wheel, we can stuff it up in the quarter and make it look the way I want. And I also really like the rules for 235. It's like a stock, like carpet, door panels, factory style dash, that kind of stuff. And horsepower wise, it's kind of limited to where I think an average guy can somewhat afford to do it. The cars in that class are running bottom fives and an eighth. Even though I did see Martin Conley at Lights Out this weekend went 488 in his Pro Charge Mustang in 235, which is flying on a 235 tire. But it's a relatively small class. It's not like 275 where you got just oodles and oodles and oodles of cars that show up to race. I think there's like 13, 14 cars this weekend at Lights Out 11. So, I mean, if you show up, you know, at least if you can make a pass, you can qualify. At least make it into the race, you know what I mean? So I think it's a doable class. They're limited to, they just changed this rule this year, I think, since it went to limited street, and they're now allowing a billet wheel 76 Charger with like a weight penalty. But, yeah, so it's kind of fits the guidelines of what I want to do. I want to keep the interior in the car. I want to keep it looking like a street car, but, you know, have the power there to go out and hopefully be competitive. But I'll show you a few things about the car. We'll look at the interior in it. You can see. This car is actually super pretty clean. I got the carpet and everything out of it. You can see there's the limited door panels like I was talking about, factory dash. My Sparco steering wheel that I had in it, yeah, because, you know, every anemic street car needs a Sparco steering wheel. But actually this right here, this is the only rust in this whole car right here in the footwell, which I'm going to cut this out and patch it. But this car is stupid clean for the most part. And like I said, it's going to get the carpet put back in. Kirky seats, some kind of rear seat delete in it to clean things up back there. I'm going to keep the factory dashboard and just gut everything out of it. Maybe keep a radio. I don't know. I mean, you need to listen to music, right, when you're in staging lanes. But factory door panels, yada, yada, yada. Plan is cage-wise, 25.5, I think is what I'm looking at, probably to meet my goals. Right now, I'm just trying to get the car as a roller. I want to get all the rear suspension under it. Axle, it's going to get a 49-inch rear end under it. Tubular front A-arms, you know, coilovers all the way around. That's one thing about that class. It's got to be a factory style suspension, which these cars are 4-link from the factory. So I've got, actually laying over here on the workbench, all the 4-link stuff for the rear to do it, anti-roll bar, yada yada. So it'll be 4-linked rear on a set of, you know, coilover shocks with 4 9-inch under it. And up front, tubular A-arms, coilovers, yada yada yada. The plan, like I said, the plan is to get it as a roller where I can move the car around. I want to put really good parts on it. And then it'll go to a chassis shop and get the certain cage I want put in it. Possibly might do some of that myself. Haven't decided yet. But, yeah, so get it as a complete roller, ready to go. And then, you know, worst case scenario, if something happens that, hey, I can't put the 2J in it, or I need to sell the car, or if I get in a tight bind or something, I can have a car that's ready that you can put whatever you want. Put a 3.8 in it, put a LS in it, put a big block, put a whatever. So it kind of leaves you with your options open. Even though I'm pretty sold on going 2J and I've got the motor here, that's the plans. But I always like to try to keep my options open. And that way, you know, if I sink all the money into a motor, you just got a motor. If you put it into the chassis, you've got options where you can go different ways. So the plans, like I said, 2JZ, it's going to have a 76 millimeter charger on it. It's going to have a turbo 400 with trans brake and 4 9-inch rear end. As far as the engine goes, I want to build it eventually to hold the power that I'm looking to make. But once I get all the money invested into the chassis and the transmission first, I'll probably buy the supporting mods, injectors, manifold, turbo, everything to make the engine, you know, make the power. And probably try to run it stock short block for a while. Just sort the car out, kind of run it at lower horsepower, work my way up to the goal that I'm looking for, and then put the money into the short block. You know, and it was like, well, you know, you start making over 800 horsepower, you're going to break the rods in it, blah, 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 window of the block. So what? If you window the block, you window the block, you know. There's more blocks out there. I'm not scared. I've never been scared of pushing the limits of a stock bottom end in anything else I've ever had. So I'm not really scared on this. It's like, you got to start somewhere and work your way up. You can't just, you know, if I had all kinds of money, yeah, I'd go have a badass motor built. But I feel like if I kind of work my way up, I can learn the car, learn the chassis, and inch up towards my goals. Plus, I don't have to blow as much money right out of the gate building an engine after I sink it all into the car and transmission and supporting mods. Another thing I hadn't talked about yet, electronics for it. I'm going to do a standalone, possibly a fuel tech, maybe Haltech. I don't know, looking at some different options there. Standalone harness, of course. So, I mean, there's going to be some cheddar spent here, no doubt. Wheels and tires, probably going to go with a set of welds and stuff on it. So, anyways, I got my work cut out for me. I've got a lot of work left to do. Really, I haven't even started yet. If you see the car, it's just it's not even got anything under it. It's sitting on a dolly I built with some fence posts under it, actually. It's a moment where I can roll it around the shop. But I just want to do a quick video, kind of introduce myself, what I got going on. Be on the lookout. I'll post some more videos of some other stuff like this truck that I've had forever. And I don't know if you can see it back here. Right there, my white dually that I got. That's my daily driver I mess with. But anyways, tell me what you think about the video. If it sucks, if it's good, if you want to see more. Maybe I'll do some tool reviews, some parts reviews, some events I go to. Whatever. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to see. I'll try to make it happen. Try to post something maybe once a week if I can make it work. But keep it haggard. We'll catch you next time.